All right. So,
What do you want to talk about?
yeah, I guess we'll just welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. What's it called?
To Dad from Dad.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and you guys have really been spurring me on to do this. So I appreciate that.
Feels like you're supposed to do it, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
I think you were.
All right. Well, I got some questions here. So let's just start with, introduce yourself. And, we want to start with like, what phase of life are you in? So how old are your kids? How would you describe your phase of life right now? Oh,
My phase of life is midlife crisis. That's
yeah.
I should be midlife crisis. I think I had that in my 30s though. My name is Pete Scalinos, and phase of life. I've got 3 daughters. My oldest is 18. My middle one is 15, freshman. So the 18-year-old's about to graduate high school, freshman in high school, which is fun. And then the last daughter is in 5th grade. So I've got the full range of female emotions happening in my house simultaneously, mind you. So it's been a journey.
Wow.
Yeah, good times.
Awesome. So when you think back, like what do you feel like surprised you the most about becoming a father?
That's a good question. What surprised me the most about becoming a father was my heart got really soft. I think I had a really, despite being 5'7", 100 and nothing, right? Like I had a really hard exterior, a hard heart. And then the second I had my firstborn daughter, my oldest one, I just started crying for no reason at certain point in times. I did a funny story. So my oldest was not a great sleeper, and she had to be rocked to sleep for probably a solid hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours just to get her to go down.
Yeah.
So we were in this small little apartment in LA, and it was like it was a 2-bedroom, but man, it must have been all of 700 square feet, maybe 600. And I would have to rock my oldest to bed every night. So I'd throw on, Law and Order or whatever's on TV at 10 o'clock at night. I don't even remember. Right. And I'd sit there and I'd walk laps around the couch, just kind of holding her back and forth while this like gruesome murder story is happening on TV. Yeah. I remember one night in particular, though. Here's the story. I'm rocking her in her room in my arms. I'm holding her and I'm just dancing back and forth. And she was 6 months old, maybe. And the thought overwhelmed me that one day I'm going to dance with her at her wedding and have to give her away to somebody. She's 6 months old. She doesn't even know the difference between a man or a woman yet.
Right.
But there I am, probably 1:30 in the morning, bawling my eyes out, dancing with her in her room. Yeah. That's what it's like to be a father of a daughter.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
It was so brutal, so fast.
Yeah.
I didn't anticipate that.
It's easy to be, I can be pretty calloused and hard, but there's nothing that will melt me away than when one of the girls really asks me for something. It's awful.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I know you have 2 daughters. What happened with you? What was your transformation when you had your first daughter? What were you like before? And then what was the immediate change that happened?
Yeah. Oh man. I think for me, I was really thrown into being an adult pretty early on. My childhood was, kind of cut short by divorce, which I think is pretty common out there these days, unfortunately. But I was really just overcome with this burden of like protecting my children's childhood. Like I genuinely viewed it as an opportunity to break the cycle. I guess that's weird because, the cycle would be generational, but to do it differently than I had it.
But you were intentional about that.
Very intentional.
Yeah. So that shapes every single thing you do with your daughters, good or bad.
That's right.
It puts a different spin on that thing, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, if you want to get into it, there are some things in my past that I grew up with that
Mm,
were super traumatic. And now as a father, I can't I can't unshake that. Like everything is viewed through this lens.
right.
And it's so hard because yes, I'm being protective of my daughters, but also I think to the certain there's a point in which I go past that where I want to protect them so bad from something that I will maybe even stunt them in
Right.
a way.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you dance like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We struggle with that a lot is, are we overcorrecting?
Mm,
You know,
mm,
because I'm pretty adamant that um, we I try really hard to make sure that the girls don't have to worry about adult things.
mm,
And our 10-year-old about to turn 11 here in a couple days, she's starting to get to that age where she probably needs some more responsibility. She
mm,
needs a little bit more exposure to the world.
mhm,
I've tried to keep that away from her as long as I can because, like I said, I want her to have the childhood. I want her to be able to just be a kid, right?
mhm.
But there's this element of parenting, which is, yeah, I hate to use the word normal, but normalizing your kids, right?
Yeah.
Helping them understand the social nuances that exist, right?
The tough part of parenting is to acclimate them to those things.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I could probably fight really hard to protect them for a long time, and we could keep them locked away here. But we're starting to get into that territory with my girls where, like I said, they've got to get some exposure to some things that are difficult for them. They've got to get exposure to some, adult problems, preteen problems,
Mm,
because if they never have those problems while they're here with us, I worry, like, I want to be here when they're exposed to those problems.
mm.
You know,
Yeah, you want to make the mistakes when it's in the confines of a place where it's
that's right.
safe. You can make the mistakes.
That's right.
That's what my wife is really good at.
Yeah.
Amanda, she's amazing at letting them make the mistakes while they're here under our
Right.
protection.
Yeah.
I grew up with two. I didn't have any brothers. I have a good story. It illustrates your point. I grew up in a household with all females. I had four sisters. My dad worked a lot. He was a great provider, but he was busy. And growing up in Los Angeles, I had two friends come to mind. I had this one friend, my best friend in the world, named Bobby Silician. He had two brothers. His oldest brother was a professional skater. They hung out with Tony Hawk. Like they built a half pipe in their backyard. Middle brother was absolutely wild, and Bobby was the youngest of the three boys. I'd go over to Bobby's house, and it was all hell was breaking loose. There was like fist fights happening, skaters in the
Yeah.
backyard smoking weed, and
Yeah.
I'm like 9 or 10 years old. Total chaos,
Yeah.
total chaos. And then I had another brother. I think his name was Andrew, and they were from Atlanta and moved to LA for his dad's job. And Andrew's mom, at 9 or 10 years old, would do everything for him. She'd wipe his nose.
Mm.
She'd like help him get dressed,
Yep.
right? And so
Yep.
in Bobby's house, it was total chaos. There was no rules. The parents were overwhelmed. The dad was working super hard, and mom was also working the same just to make ends meet in LA. The other family, mom was a stay-at-home mom, and the kid, she was just highly protective. I had both of those examples
Right.
where it was almost no hands-on parenting, and then over the top, too much hands-on parenting.
Right.
So how do you find that balance?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have to find that balance.
Yep.
Otherwise, your kids are going to be stunted in one way or another.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think just the fact that we're having this conversation, like, I think that's it's a healthy place to be. The fact that you're at least thinking about it and aware of it.
Hmm.
I guess that's one of the things I'm probably most curious about with the folks that would listen to this podcast is, like, where do people weigh in on that?
Mm.
Because I'm just so curious, like, how many of these same struggles and thoughts, like what you and I have just described, right,
Yeah.
are other dads out there trying to navigate through?
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think it was in Freakonomics or Outliers or some book like that. I don't know if it was Gladwell or whoever, but it was diagnosing, or it was assessing people that owned a certain book, right?
Mm.
And how well they were successful at life. I think it was like a book about like savings or whatever. And it wasn't that they owned the book and that created good money management skills for them. It was that they took the time and the energy to buy the book and even had it. That was on their mind. So
Right.
they're already setting themselves up. So how about this for the listeners, right? You don't have to sit here and listen to every episode, but it's the fact that you took the time to search out an episode about being a dad
Yeah.
that puts you on the right trajectory no matter what,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to be perfect because
Yeah.
Lord knows I'm not.
I mean, it's direction, not perfection. Right.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Awesome. All right. So I've got another question queued up for you.
Sure.
So when you think back, what do you feel like what is something that you got wrong early on as a dad?
Everything. There's no playbook, and that's the hardest part. Like my hindsight's 2020.
Right.
I can look back and say, man, here's the thing. Yes, I got soft when my daughters were born, but I think I had a hard time managing my expectations and my anger, and I didn't. It was just me living in the world as a wild creature, a feral young man.
Right.
In my 20s when I got married, and I didn't have a good grasp on who I really was and how to navigate some of the things that I was dealing with. And so that came out, in anger and expectations, where the reality is my wife had a great perspective. And one thing that's a through thread that you're going to see is my wife is probably the most amazing mom that I've ever seen work, because she's just so measured and calculated and thoughtful about how she parents. And I'm like, I'm like a meth addict trying to parent, somebody.
Right.
It's completely different. My expectations, I got wrong. The mess didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They would throw the bowl on the ground and I'd get mad. And it's like, bro, it's a kid. Like, why am I getting mad at a 1-year-old chucking something? I mean,
Yeah.
it's that. And I also think, something that stands out for me is I know I scared my daughters with some of my outbursts and my anger, because I was dealing with who I was and how to navigate some things and some feelings and some thoughts and some trauma from my childhood. And I hate to bring up that word trauma because everyone's like trauma this, trauma that,
Right.
but like the reality of the situation is I am broken. I was broken. I was more broken.
Yeah.
And so how to navigate and deal with that and kind of heal myself,
Yeah.
healing through that process. And that was only by a miracle that happened, that I was brought to a place of healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's funny you bring that up. The anger thing, dude, is tough as a dad.
Yeah.
Like when we first moved into this house, 2 weeks, I don't know, we got new carpet upstairs. And I was putting together furniture upstairs, and the girls were up there with me. And, I think I had a adult beverage with me, putting together some IKEA furniture.
That actually sounds like a great day.
I mean, yeah. And like seriously, the girls are in there and we're putting the furniture together, and one of them knocks over my drink. And dude, I just came unglued. Spilled all over the carpet.
Brand new carpet?
No, the carpet that was going to be completely ripped out and thrown away a week later. Right?
Been there.
And I remember after I had this outburst, it occurred to me, like legitimately, I was like, you idiot. This carpet is literally going in the trash. This is a mess that you don't even have to clean up. Like, I don't even, it's not like, hey, go get something and clean this up. It's like, who cares?
That's right.
Right?
Completely inconsequential.
I don't know, man. That anger piece is tough as a dad.
It is though, right? And what is that? Is it learning? Is it learning that failure will happen and you have to deal with it accordingly with the right measurement? Because if you think about, well, I'm going to bring up God. If you think about the way God views us as his children, and then you're put in a position where you have children, all of a sudden it makes that relationship of the Father God so much more in line, because
Right.
you understand it now.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Now, God doesn't yell at us when we spill drinks on the carpet that are His, but
Yeah.
you know, I think you can draw some parallels however you want, and it'll
Yeah.
make sense.
Absolutely.
And that's so funny.
Yeah, dude.
It
It's
wasn't. It
awful.
wasn't even the new
It
carpet.
wasn't even new carpet. Yeah. So dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's things that happen like that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you get mad about something that's breaking a glass,
Yeah.
or knocking a picture frame off the wall and it shatters. It's like, yeah, well, okay, that's $5 from Home Goods for a picture frame, but the reaction from me was like a 9,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
I remember one time I yelled at my middle daughter because she was chasing the little one around the house. To no fault of the middle one's own, the little one fell and hit her head right on the corner of a door, and the door was pushed open against the wall, so she hit it, and it was just firm.
Yeah.
And she must have had a golf ball size on her forehead,
Yeah.
and she kind of passed out for a second.
Yeah.
But kids are resilient; they bounce back. But I got so mad at my middle daughter, and I yelled at her.
Yeah.
I was like, "What are you doing, chasing your sister around? You caused this." And I look back, and I'm like, "Oh, big fail,
Yeah.
big fail."
Yep.
Instead of using that as a teaching moment, because we were in, at that time we were in like an 1,100 square foot palace
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
LA, and
Yeah.
we were all sleeping on top of each other, all 5 of us. But like, that was a massive fumble. And so I look back, and I can look back on my life with my daughters, and I can say I've got a history of failures, or I've got a history of learning moments for myself and teaching moments for myself. Right? I'm trying to raise a good human. I'm not trying to raise a robot. I don't want to raise a fearful child. I want to raise girls that are strong, that are independent, that are sure of themselves, that have capacity, right?
Right.
And that are raised with biblical standards. And so, what do I now when I'm talking to my daughters about things? What am I trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
My that's what the biggest change is. My viewpoint is now, what is the end goal, as opposed to flying off the handle?
Right.
What's my end goal? So, great story. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Good. I'm gonna tell it anyway. So, my oldest daughter, we were at rodeo. You know this story. We were at rodeo, and I get a call from my oldest daughter, and she said, "There's some guy standing in the driveway. I just pulled up at the house. We live in a community where you have to go past a guard gate. I didn't see anybody come in. The guard gate notifies us, and so she says, there's somebody in the driveway." She ends up panicking because she didn't know who that was waiting in our driveway, just standing there, freaking her out in the darkness. She backs the car out of the driveway and hits one of the trees on the way out, smashes up the rear quarter panel. It was my car, by the way. And so she got to a place of safety. Turns out one of my other daughter's friends had been there to pick up his daughter, but we were still at the rodeo. It took a long time to get out, blah, blah, blah. And in talking to my oldest daughter, the point of that conversation, I approached it like this. I was not angry at all. I said, you did the right thing. If you're in a place where you don't feel safe, something's putting you off, something is making your spidey senses go off, and you don't feel safe, or you don't know what's happening, get out.
Yeah.
Car be damned. Everything else will be fine.
Yeah.
Get out and get yourself to safety. That's the most important thing. I can replace a car, can't replace you.
Yeah.
Right? Was I pissed that that's a $6,000 repair job? Absolutely.
Yep.
And is she going to help pay for it? Well, I'm trying to convince her, to convince my wife that she should participate in some of that.
Yeah.
But I can't make her pay for the whole thing, because I want her to know you did the right thing. Now,
Right.
there are consequences, but you also did the right thing. So
Right.
it's like that balance, right?
Right.
That's right now where I think I've transitioned to where I was, now to where I am. Not perfect at all, still super flawed, but doing better every day.
Yeah. That's a good kind of lead into the next question, which is what did you think really mattered early on that turned out not to matter as much?
Ooh. Obedience.
Obedience.
I thought obedience really mattered. I could not have been farther from the truth, because it's not obedience. You want heart posture. You want heart posture in a way where my daughter's not obeying me because I don't want her to obey me because she's scared of me.
Right.
I want her to obey me because she loves me. The obedience part is not important. It's the posture of the heart with that, right? I can have my daughter obey my every word, but now I have a robot who's operating off of fear, who's operating off of consequence, instead of operating from a place of love and actually cherishing and honoring her parents, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm going for.
Right.
Obedience. I mean, yeah, obviously you don't want your kid to be a wild child, but I think that I think there's a way to approach that where you're not just going after the yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, right? You're actually going after the heart of the child that wants to please the parent. That's
Mm,
the end goal because
mm,
that person is going to be a way better citizen of the world and a way better citizen in the kingdom. Like that's my perspective.
right. Hmm. All right. So the opposite question,
Hmm.
which is what what did matter more than you thought it did?
Hmm. Time.
Mm,
Time mattered more than I thought it did.
yeah.
Yeah. That's something I look back on that's really hard for me. So when they were first born, um, I was working in a couple of different jobs, and I was at one point I was doing um, insurance. We'd started an insurance agency. In we started a financial services company in 2007, right before the crash in '08. That was fun. Lost everything. But I was killing myself working time. And after that failed and I kind of scrambled back on my feet, I got into a different gig where I was in sales, and it was probably, dude, honestly, it was minimum 60 hours a week, sometimes upwards of 70, 80, depending on the week,
Mm,
12-hour days.
yeah.
I missed everything.
Yeah.
I missed everything.
How
And
old? How old were the girls?
oh gosh, let's see. The oldest one would have been 4 years old. And then the other one would have, when I started, the oldest one was 4, the middle one was 1 years old.
Yeah.
I missed, and I worked in that industry for um, 10, 11 years. And so my middle one, she got some of that. I missed her first steps.
Mm,
I missed my middle daughter's first steps. I wasn't at birthday parties.
yeah.
I wasn't at vacations. I would
Yeah.
send them on vacation and stay home and work.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, I missed holidays. I missed everything, dude. It was just a job that demanded it. But, you know, it was expensive to live,
Yeah.
and we were barely making it.
Yep.
And that was really hard because I look back and you have to provide for your family, right? That's a given. But the trade-off, right? The trade-off is the hardest part because that time you don't get back. Money is infinite. There is an infinite amount of money. Just ask the federal government, right? There's
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right. But there's always more money to be made. Time is so finite,
Mm,
and I didn't have the right perspective. Now, having said that, I do give myself a break, and maybe I shouldn't justify it this way, but like I'm also trying to pay for a house and raise a family in Los Angeles, dude. I mean, that's probably one of the most expensive places you can live. And so, you want to provide for your family. I wanted to give my family a nice life. I wanted to live in a place that was safe. I mean, somewhat safe. And so as a young dad, I killed myself
yeah.
to do that. And it cost me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee, it was brutal. It cost me a lot. I think I was probably gray at like 30. A lot of stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stress.
Would you say, was there a season that almost broke you as a father?
It's funny. The newborn stage, it didn't almost break me as a father, but I don't think I've ever felt like I've operated with such little capacity as I did in that time
Yeah.
because it's such a blur. You're not sleeping,
Oh, dude.
kids
Yeah.
not sleeping, mom's awake. Everyone, no one is getting a good night's sleep, right?
Right. Right.
For the first, I mean, it's on and off, right? You have seasons of good and bad with some of these parents will have kids that will knock out like immediately,
Yeah.
from the time they get home from the hospital, the kid's sleeping through the night. We didn't have that. We had night owl babies,
Yeah.
And so just, I mean, I remember going to work sometimes. I remember going to work and falling asleep at work. Happened multiple times.
Yeah.
I would just fall asleep with whatever I was. I'd be sitting at a desk and my head would bang on the keyboard and I'd pop up and keep going, Um, and then what's interesting is now this season where, so like when the kids are little, they're adorable. You get to hold them, cuddle them, all the things. And it's such a sweet time, but they can't talk back. It's very one way, right? You get a little feedback here and there, and that's rewarding and it's fun as a new parent. But then when the kids start to come online, when they start to like put themselves in a place in the world, they're starting to recognize like that their world is getting bigger and bigger, right? Because their world is small. As soon as their world expands and they come online, that's the fun part. I actually look back and the baby stage is sweet. It's so fun. But like that stage from like a year and a half to like 5 or 6, that's not my favorite stage. I hate to say it. Like that's a terrible stage. You got to watch them all the time. They're getting into stuff. They're chaotic. You have to be on top of them. And then when they hit like 6, 7, maybe 8, they're like a little bit independent. You start letting the leash out, and then that gets fun because you get to see the personality come out and how they interact, and like they're forming themselves.
It's almost like they go through this period where they don't know what's dangerous. Like when they can walk and start to talk, and they have the physical independence to be able to go and do things, but like you said, it's exhausting because at any given moment they could be setting the house on fire, or playing in traffic. Like you literally have to watch them. But then when they get to the age where they start to understand like danger,
Right.
and they have some fear around things,
Yeah.
then you can kind of take a deep breath. And,
Yeah. Pain's a good teacher.
Oh man. Yeah.
Right.
Dude, it's hard to watch them learn that way though.
Yeah. And you don't want them to intentionally do it, but you also have to understand like if the stakes are low, it's okay to feel a sting, whether that's socially or it's physically. They have to kind of learn how to navigate themselves. If you're always jumping in and helping them navigate, they're never going to learn how to do it themselves because you're going to be the problem solver. They're not going to be able to figure it out and cognitively start to problem solve on their own. Right. That's crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, dude, I think it was my oldest daughter. She was on a bike. We were living in the foothills, and she was on a bike, and the chain broke on the bike as she was cruising down the street. Well, the chain was also the brake. Yeah. There were no handbrakes. This is like a beach cruiser, right?
Oh yeah.
So she's flying down the street, and she panicked a little bit, but then she steered the bike towards a lawn, hit the curb, cut up her foot, busted it up, but then fell onto like the lawn, right? So she, faced with a bunch of bad options, made the best worst option.
Right.
She picked the best worst option, right?
Yeah.
Got to be put in those situations to actually make those decisions because you're not going to learn them. That's trial and error, dude.
Yeah.
That has to be trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. And also a couple stitches later.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they have to go through it. I mean, that's how you and I learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, all right, so this is one of the kind of premises of the podcast here is if you could go back and have a conversation with yourself before you had your first kid, what's 1 or 2 or 3 things that you'd want to look Pete in the face and say, "Hey, dude, this is where it's at."
I would want to go back and I would tell myself this. Whatever it is, it's not a big deal. Whatever you think is a big deal that you're going to get spun up about or yell about or fly off the handle about, it's not that big of a deal. 99.99% of the time, that phrase is correct.
Yeah.
That's a big lesson. I would love to go back and shake myself and teach myself. Another one is guard their hearts. Guard their hearts. Meaning like they are your kids are madly in love with you. You just don't know it, and they can't express it. But you're the biggest thing in the world to them.
Right.
You're everything.
Yeah.
And so you have their heart in your hands,
Mm.
and guard their hearts. Be a safe place and trustworthy. Be a trusting place for them, and be a safe place for them. Doesn't mean there's not consequences. Does
Right.
not mean that at all. But it means be that safe space, because you want your kids to come to you when something goes wrong.
Right.
If you're not a safe space and you're not trustworthy with their heart, they will not come to you when something goes off the rails.
Right.
Right? The last thing you want is your kid to start hiding stuff from you.
Right.
And there's an easy way to do that. Make yourself not a safe space.
Yeah.
Make yourself not available.
Yeah, that's right, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the last thing in the world I want is for my kid not to call me and tell me when something's wrong. If something goes off the rails and they hide it,
Yep.
that means that I did not do a good job in nurturing that heart and caring for that heart.
Yep.
Yeah. That's something that's huge. I think about that a lot.
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's a sobering reminder that how we show up every day matters. Like it's not. It's because I don't know that it's necessarily how you react to just the big things either. I think it's the accumulation of your reaction.
Yeah, sure. You're building in a pattern.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because kids don't have the perspective we have. And this is something that I struggle with a lot. Like something that is trivial to me is quite possibly the most important thing going on in their life right now.
Of course. The most
Right.
important thing for them is the most important thing. They
Right.
don't have the context for a lot.
And so it's not even a response, I'm not saying like, hey, don't get angry every time they bring you something, or, don't overreact every time they bring you something. Sometimes it's just, you got to remember the perspective of the kid and what they're bringing to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would say I'm probably more guilty of that more often. Just being dismissive.
That's tough though, because you get caught up in your own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. That's something that remains consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting caught up in your own thing, and you're like, you could take 2 seconds and listen to their story.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't cost you anything, but you think it's so important that you
Yeah.
need to finish whatever task you have right now.
Absolutely.
You said something, and I wanna bring that back. You talked about showing up. That's another thing I would love to go back and tell myself, show up. I, on paper, probably looked like I cared a lot. You can fake caring. You can fake caring all day long,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You can't fake showing up,
Yeah.
right? If you call me up and you're like, hey, Pete, I'm buying a new house. I'm like, oh, that's so greatly. So proud of you guys. Yeah, call me when you're moving and I'll help you move stuff. And you call me and you're like, and I'm like, oh man, I can't. I'm watching football today. I can't help you move. I'm sorry. I can fake caring all day long, but people that show up,
Yeah.
those are the ones that become trustworthy in your life. Same thing for the kids. Show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I kind of mentioned earlier, my parents got divorced when I was 10, and I lived with my mom after that the entire time. But I got to give credit to my dad, because I can't think, even though I saw him, every other weekend and sometimes on Wednesdays, and you know how that goes, but he was at every single school function, baseball game, basketball game, track meet, whatever it was, he was there. I mean, without question.
That's saying something.
Yeah, it is.
That's saying a lot. It's a big statement.
Yeah. And at the time, he was driving 45 minutes, hour and a half just to get to the school that we were at, plus however far it was,
Now think about this from the perspective of you as an adult now, right? Making that kind of commitment, that time commitment.
The sacrifice, dude.
Yeah, sacrifice is off the charts now, isn't it? Because you know how busy you are. Picture that with your dad plus everything else.
Absolutely.
Wild, huh?
Yeah. And I mean, it really, kind of makes me, I don't know, feel guilty, regret maybe. But if I look at what he did, and when I think about what a lot of other dads have to go through to show up
Mm.
compared to what I have to do to show up,
Mhm.
dude, I got it easy, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a really good reminder.
Yeah, that's a solid one actually, and
Mm,
it was modeled for you in a really, uh, impactful way.
yeah,
Yeah. It adds gravity to it now that you know all the things that he probably had going on and how busy his life was, but he made you a priority.
yeah,
Yeah. Tough. And it's funny is, uh, I guess a lot of dads probably don't say the right thing. Maybe we're not super good with emotion. Maybe we're not super good at communicating, right? But we know if I mean your dad might not have said all the right things, but he showed up, right?
yeah, yeah,
Actions speak louder than words,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Just from the standpoint, also, you don't have to say anything,
Mm,
you know?
mm,
I mean, if I think about some of the, if I really try to think about quality time with my kids these days from their perspective, it's when I'm sitting in my recliner and they come and sit in my lap.
mm.
I don't have to say anything to do that. I have to get off my phone, you know?
Yeah.
Or and a lot of times that they want to do the talking. I don't have to say anything.
Oh, they got all the words.
All I have to do is listen. You
Uh,
know, you mentioned that earlier. Take the 2 minutes and listen to the story. You
yeah.
know, take the 45 seconds for the hand drawn card that they gave you and tell them thank you. You know,
The macaroni
the
necklace.
macaroni necklace, right? And it's like, and I, you know, here lately I've kind of been in a bad habit. The girls love doing that for me, and you know, rather than saying thank you, I'm like, you know, what am I supposed to do with this? What do you
Oh,
what do you want me to do with this? Like
mm.
this is the fifth card you've given me this week. Where am I supposed to put this?
Receive it.
Yeah.
Yeah, take
Yeah.
it. Cost you nothing to take it.
It doesn't. It
That's right.
doesn't.
And it's such a small thing, right?
Yeah.
And it probably is, I mean, yeah, you might now get 50 more cards because the response, but like,
Yeah.
dude, you're your daughter's first love.
Right.
Yeah, they love their mom,
Right.
but you are their protector. You are bigger than life
Yeah.
to your daughters.
Yeah.
And then now I got a senior leaving and I'm realizing that I'm maybe not the biggest thing in her life anymore.
Yeah.
That's a hard pill.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about this, all your kids are on a clock. You're not cognizant of it usually, but they're all on a clock.
Yeah.
And the clock is counting down to the day when they will not be under your roof anymore.
Yeah.
And so if you look at it where there's a countdown, well, now you're going to treat every day differently because you know you're on that clock. You know it's going to reach all zeros. And when that day comes, you were going to wish it was reset back to
Yep.
18 years prior,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Man, I struggle with that a lot. I think about, I don't mean this in the wrong way, but I think about death a lot from the standpoint of like,
Go on.
you know, I just try to reason with myself and say, I would never on my deathbed think, man, I sure do wish I could watch some more YouTube.
Mm. Mm.
Right. Man, I sure do wish I could scroll Facebook some more or Instagram, right? Or TikTok. No,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But I know this, like I am going to look back and I'm going to have regret. I'm going to have regret that says I should have been more present, you know? And look, this is something I feel like is probably going to come up a lot as we dive into these topics. And I think regret's okay. Shame is not okay, right? It's regret without shame. I mean, regret is just, I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think regret can be a good teacher.
Mhm.
I think shame puts you in a different place where you're almost in a place of embarrassment and condemnation.
Right.
But regret is you looking back, thinking you wish you could have done something different.
Yeah.
And I think that can actually propel you forward to make a different decision.
There you go.
But when you live with shame, now you're
Yeah.
living with a cloud and you're operating from a limited place of capacity because the shame will stunt you.
Yeah.
That shame will not let you go beyond
Right.
what you've already done.
Right.
Right. So you're locking yourself into something,
Yeah.
whether you know it or not. And by the way, we do this all the time. People walk around and live with shame and guilt all the time, and they're stunted adults.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm talking about myself,
Yeah.
right? There's some things that I was dealing with and living with that I mentioned earlier where that really affected me as an adult and as a father. And it screwed me up in a way, Lee, where, I don't think that, boy, I don't think I was the best parent I could have been because I was operating from that place of shame and hurt, and
Yeah.
guilt. It wasn't regret.
Yeah.
This was like deep wounds. And
Yeah.
so when you parent from that place,
Yeah.
you make different decisions,
Yeah.
right? You're not operating at your full capacity. You're operating at a stunted capacity. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we should probably wrap this up. I got one more question for you.
Briefs.
Briefs.
Sorry.
Excellent. Excellent. Um, I'm trying to think of how to ask this. What what do you want your, when you think about, look in the future, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever,
Mm.
maybe from the standpoint of maybe if you're not around, or if you just had to convey something, like what is something that you really want your kids to know about you?
Mm. What is something I'd want my kids to know about me?
Or
Am I dead?
uh
For funsies. Yeah, dead.
maybe, I don't
Like,
know.
how do I want my kids to remember me?
Or let me change it. Let me change it one word.
Yeah, sure.
What is something that you would want your kids to understand about you?
Oh, man. Um, Sorry, I'm giving this a lot of thought because
It's
I
all
had
right.
like 15 things flood my mind. Um, I think that I would want them to know that I did the best I could.
Mm. Yeah, man.
But it's funny. I had a conversation with my oldest daughter, and I was intentional about it. I took her out to coffee, and I shared with her my story. Um, just kind of growing up and some things that had happened, and she was floored. And I wasn't. I did it with the expressed purpose of sharing with her a little bit more about me than just how she viewed me as her dad, but more like, hey, I'm a person, and here's
Yeah.
what I went through, and
Yeah.
here's how this affected me. And that was a powerful conversation, Lee, because she sat there and listened, and I got to share everything, and what the understanding from her from that conversation. I wasn't trying to give her my burdens. It was more about kind of understanding why I was so messed up,
Mm.
when she was young, because we were in our mid-20s when we had her, and and it was just a powerful conversation, and I didn't know I'd ever be having that conversation with my daughters,
Yeah.
and it came to a point where I felt like I had to share, and you'd say, here's where your pop came. My kids call me Pop. Here's where here's kind of your pop story,
Yeah.
and the level of understanding that came from that conversation was huge, and I think it put us on a different level, our relationship, in a way where it was productive, not like a feel sorry for you kind of way, but more like a, oh, I can see,
Mm.
I see why you made some choices that you did with us growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a boy, man, you want to talk about weird conversations,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
I've never I have never thought about the fact that at some point the girls will be at an age where, like, I'll be able to share my story with them.
Yeah, think about that.
Dude, that's wild.
Right, but both of your girls
Yeah.
are at some point you're gonna have a conversation where you're gonna have to
Mm.
tell them about, and I wanted to tell her,
Mm. Yeah.
because I want her to, dude, I got this person that I love to death, unconditionally,
Right.
right? And I want a relationship with this person for the rest of my life, whatever that looks like. And so that person is probably the most deserving to know my story, but they don't have the capacity to handle it until they reach a certain age of maturity where they can really grasp it. And I feel like my oldest is at that age where she actually was like, wow. And we talked and asked questions, and it was, boy, man, that was powerful. It was a powerful time because we kind of broke that barrier. I mean, yeah, still my daughter for sure, but she's a young woman now and she's getting ready to leave the house, and you know, the relationship transforms, right? Still a parent, but you're not parenting almost at all anymore,
Yeah.
because hopefully you've actually laid the groundwork for that person to not need you. You're preparing your kids for their entire life while they're under your roof to not need you.
Yeah.
What a wild concept.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like at work. You have an underling, right? So one of your employees, and you spent 18 years training that employee to do the job without you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, wild concept.
Hmm. All right, dude. I am confident this is not the last time we'll do this together. So, man, I just want to say thanks for taking the time to be here today.
Of course,
And
happy to be here.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You got it, man.